What do you mean you don't like my jewellery? Hello, welcome back. My name is Carol. Today we're starting a new series on the channel where we're going to be talking to Imogen Lamport from Inside Out Style blog. Now, Imogen is a style consultant and she's going to be talking to us about a number of things. Today we're going to be talking about how personality affects the clothing choices and in particular your jewellery choices. So let's bring Imogen on. Now before we do that though, I would like to tell you that Imogen has given us a special offer which I will talk to you about at the end of the video, so keep watching. Welcome Imogen. It's lovely to have you here today. Okay, so we're going to start by talking about personality today and how that affects our clothing and also by osmosis, the jewellery that we wear. So personality plays a huge role in how we dress. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Sure thing. Look, to me, personality is the number one thing with deciding what we do and don't like and what suits us. So personality influences absolutely every single thing we choose, and jewellery is an important part of that. So it, influences prints and patterns, if we like them, if we don't like them, and then what kind. Am I a florals, an animal print, a stripes, an abstract print, a checks? The list goes on for types of prints and patterns. And this is why we automatically do like some things and are repelled by other things. And that's something to kind of know about yourself. So I don't think there's anything wrong with you if you don't like certain prints that other people like or that happen to be in fashion. Also influences the, say, structure of clothing. Do I prefer more structured clothing? Do I prefer more loose and baggy clothing? Do I prefer things that have a more feminine shape? Or do I prefer things that are more, say, unusually constructed? All those things down to personality. Then, of course, there is, even with jewellery, we could think about jewellery. Do I like small, delicate pieces? Do I like large, bold pieces? Do I like multiple coloured pieces? Do I like single coloured pieces? Do I like bling or do I prefer natural stones? These are all personality. And so this is why, when we're trying to make these decisions, when we're trying to choose what clothes to wear, if we don't understand how our personality actually influences our style choices, we make a lot of mistakes. And that's one of the things I see the most when I'm looking through wardrobes is personality mistakes. And they're often the mistakes we make when we're bored with our wardrobe. We're sick and tired, we're bored, we go out shopping and we think, I need to get different. And rather than getting our own sort of personal, different from we've stuck ourselves in a little rut, we go and we try somebody else's sort of style and we get it home and we never wear it. And it sits in the wardrobe unworn. Now, sometimes we can put those things on. Every now and again we might wear them and other people might go, oh my gosh, I love that jacket. But the whole time we think it doesn't feel like me. So I like to think of personality a bit like a, 6 or 7 lane freeway. We can use all the lanes. We can drive in all the lanes, but there's probably 3 to 4 lanes that are our most comfortable lanes. And we'll have, like I say, a core lane where that's kind of the basis of our style. And then we'll have, different elements of different lanes. We can zip in and out of them all the time, and we're using them all the time. What often happens, especially as we get older and we get busier and all those sorts of things, is we get kind of stuck into one lane and then we become dissatisfied. And that's when we're bored and dissatisfied. And what we want to do is then go back into our lanes rather than going off into somebody's. It's almost like if you've ever driven on LA freeways, which is a scary thing to do. I find suddenly, like some other, freeway crosses over, and I've suddenly been taken off somewhere where I didn't want to go because I was in the wrong lane. So it's really just bringing back all of the lanes that are us without necessarily bringing in, the lanes that are not us. So some of the lanes, some of the personality dressing styles, as we call them, will delve into more, we'll use more of. Some will just maybe use a little bit of detail. But it's when we feel at our best that we're really expressing our personality in our clothing.
So what if I can't decide what sort of personality that I am? Because most people have this idea of themselves and, of where they fit. But what if it doesn't actually, what if I don't know? And what if I consider myself to be mixed personality?
Well, we're all mixed. So that's what I was saying about the lanes. We all have a mix. There is nobody, I've never met one person who would just go, I'm just purely classic. Or something like that. You know, everybody is a mix, but it's how we mix it and mixing it in our own individual way. And this is why, you know, I have tools as an image consultant. One of the things I have is tools to help you find and understand your personality. And it's something we go right into in my 7 Steps to Style program. The first step is all about personality, and you can do a quiz and it relates to personality traits. And it explains, I remember when I did my training and I learnt this, and I remember going, no wonder I can only wear sneakers when I'm actually jogging. I'm not one of those people who can get around in athleisure all the time. It's just not my personality. And once I learnt why, I learnt that my feminine side found that too frumpy, and I learnt that my classic side found it too dressed down. Even though I love comfort, for me, I can still be comfortable in clothes. You know, I love stretch and I will look for stretch in my clothes, but it doesn't mean that I have to just only wear really sloppy clothing or really athletic clothing. That's not my personality. So
I'm so with you there.
part of it is kind of understanding that and learning, and even looking at, like, one of the things you can do is look at your favorite outfit. Look at an outfit that really works for you. And you'll often start to know, what are the, you know, what are the pieces? What are the colors? What are the design details? You know, what do you naturally gravitate to? Because most of us have this experience. We walk into a store and we take some stuff into the change room and we try things on. And, you know, the sales assistant goes, oh, can I help you? Can I, you know, what did you think? And you go, oh, it's not me. But we can't tell them what me is because we don't really know what me is. And that's what I love to do with my clients and with my program members, is actually help them understand what is me.
Right.
And when we understand what is me, it suddenly makes choosing clothes so much easier because, you know, that's me. That's not, like, I can appreciate some stuff on other people that I will never wear.
Yes. Yes.
And it's knowing what that is. And that's where it comes into understanding what we call the personality dressing styles, and then how we want to use them. Because even within each of these styles, there is a lot of different things to them, where there's lots of different aspects. There's colors, prints and patterns, fabric choices, design details, accessories, shoes, hairstyles, makeup, you name it. There's all the different aspects. And you might say, I take, maybe it's like I take a bit of classic structure, but I add it with some feminine jewelry, but with a creative hairstyle. And, and this is how I'm layering up. I think of it as the Viennetta approach, where we're layering different aspects of our personality into our outfits. And it's those different layers and how we want to do it. So with feminine, say, for example, you could have lace, you could have soft, light fabrics, you could have bling, you can have small, delicate details, you can have floral patterns. I mean, the list goes on and on. Now, I would say, I look at you, Carol, and I see femininity there, but I'm not seeing lace.
Oh, no, never.
And this is where it's going, just because I'm, feminine, I'm not seeing frills and flounces. People automatically think feminine equals frills and flounces. And so therefore I can't be feminine. I don't want to wear a frill or a flounce, but I see a soft light color. I see, the pearls. I see the sheen. I see the jewelry with small, delicate details. So I'm seeing femininity there. It's just not in lace. It's not in bling necessarily. It's not in flounce or frills. So it's how we do it in our own way. And that's where, when we're the ones who get to choose what is our way. And I always remember I did a consultation one with 2 nurses, and they both were kind of highly classic, relaxed and feminine in their personality dressing styles. Yet what they chose from each was so different that their clothing would never look the same, because what they chose from each of those dressing styles was actually very different elements. So even though you could, you can't even box people into going, well, you have to do it one way. It's then, even within that, we will be choosing those pieces that we like.
Which is why when you see someone on Instagram and you think, wow, I want to be that person, I want to look like them, you can never quite recreate it with your own wardrobe because you don't feel comfortable, because you are not that person.
Yes, you are a different person. And this is why copying other people's style is not the way to go. This is why when we just try and dress, I remember many years ago before I learnt what I know now, I had a very stylish neighbour and I thought, oh, I should just wear what she's wearing because looks great. I mean, apart from the fact we had very different body shapes, very different colouring, but even if I chose them in my colours, I didn't feel like me because she had a much more relaxed style, and I just felt uncomfortable in that level of relaxed. So it didn't work for me. So it didn't give me the confidence. And part of what I notice is when people are dressing in a way that gives them confidence, like that's what we're exuding. We're exuding that confidence versus when you're dressing in a way that's not really you. Even if the outfit is great, but it doesn't feel like you won't exude that confidence. And that's what people pick up on.
So in your course, 7 Steps to Style, which I did back in 2018 the first time, you have the personality quiz, and I actually redid it on the weekend because I thought it's time I redid it to see if things have changed, and things have changed for me quite a lot actually over the last 5 years. So that was really interesting. So if you're interested in taking that personality test, you can contact Imogen, and I will leave you a link in the description box for that. Okay, so lifestyle and environment, how does that affect your personality and your dressing?
Well, lifestyle, culture, environment, the family we grew up in, the jobs we do, I mean, all these things influence everything we wear. So, you think about certain religious beliefs will influence, certain styles of clothing. If there are certain, traditions that you adhere to, potentially. Where you live, the location you live in. So if you live in a small coastal holiday town, you'll find that A, there may be a lot of tourists, and B, everybody tends to dress much more relaxed. Versus you live in a large, metropolitan city where lots of people work in corporate things, and you'll see a lot more black and a lot more structure. Uh, so, and even the country you live in, different countries, different climates will absolutely impact what you wear. So what sort of fibers will you wear? If you live somewhere really hot, you're probably going to go way more for natural fibers versus if you live somewhere cold, it's all about layering potentially and other things. So all these things are coming into how we choose what we wear and how we make those decisions. And of course, too, how we were brought up, what was expected of us. And this is where I always remember having a consultation with a client. It was really funny. And she was going through the personality quiz. And as she was reading through it, she read through, she was very classic. And as she was reading through things, there's a one called creative. And she was like, oh my gosh, that's my daughter. And she said, we are always fighting. I'm always telling her she should be wearing clothes like that are more classic. But I can now see that she's actually, her personality is creative. And so she's fighting me on wearing these classic clothes. And I'm trying to turn her into me, but she is not me. And I thought, I bet you she'll leave this and she'll actually get a much better relationship with her daughter. And she has now suddenly an understanding that it's not that there's anything wrong with the way her daughter is dressing. It's just her daughter is dressing to express her creativity. She's, dressing to, express her more traditional, views. And they're both completely acceptable. And it's just about kind of like thinking about, well, what actually works for each person. So I thought that was really interesting because as she was reading, because really what we're doing is we're looking at personality traits and then choosing clothes based on those personality traits rather than looking at clothes and then going, well, I kind of like that style. Because if you don't understand your personality, it's then very hard to choose the clothes.
That just struck such a chord with me, you saying that, because me and my daughter have exactly the same experience. She is so creative and she's out there, but she thinks that I'm out there as far as my clothing as well. So we just don't agree. And going shopping with her is quite interesting. She says to me, that looks like a mum outfit. And I always took that as being quite a bad thing until I did your course and I realised, no, it's okay for it to be a mum outfit for me.
And you are a mum, isn't it?
Exactly.
I mean, when you're 17, you don't want to be wearing mum outfits. But
she didn't mean it's a mum outfit as in it's for an old person. She means it's a mum outfit because it looks like it should belong on me.
Yeah.
Wasn't that wonderful talking to Imogen about how your personality affects the clothing and jewellery making choices that you make. Now, Imogen has kindly offered that if you sign up for one of her courses using the link in the description box below, she will give you 2 free courses. So that is a pretty cool deal. The courses that she is going to give you are an outfit masterclass, and that is valued at $47, and an online shopping guide. That one's valued at $97, so worth taking advantage of that. Thank you so much for watching today. Remember to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, and I will see you again soon.